Players of the game from the last game: on defense, Tyler Gray. On offense was Holden Huff. It's good to see him get in the end zone again. It's been a while. Special teams: Dante Dion. O-lineman of the game, Travis Averill. So it's good to have him back. D-lineman, JT. Those are the guys that were voted. Just going back and looking at the game, I thought, kind of like I said at the end, I thought the defense played well. We covered better. We did a good job against the run. And we played consistent, and we just went out there and played. Offensively, we got into a rhythm. I think the tempo showed up. We were able to run the ball effectively inside, up the middle, and hit it like we want to. Threw the ball effectively, and I think the quarterbacks all of them were pretty efficient, the ones that got a chance to throw the ball. Special teams were better. Thought our specialists did a good job. We had the one little hiccup there with a delay that we were able to still overcome and kick it. It was 40-some yards. So, those are just learning opportunities. But probably most proud of, we're not perfect, but we eliminated a lot of penalties from the first game from the last game to this game, going from 11 to 4, and we'd like to be perfect. So the more that we can continue to improve in those areas, the better off we're going to be. But thought our players prepared extremely well. Expect that again this week, to have a better preparation than we did the week before and continue the process of just improving. Virginia, 1-2 right now. Their offense, they do a lot of things probably similar to what we do, as far as movement, personnel, and just a lot of different looks. And so the nice thing about that is our defense gets a chance to see it. The difficult thing is, we also feel what we do is hard to prepare for. And so we got a lot of different things that our defense has to get ready to go against. Their tailback, both tailbacks, number 4 and 5, their wide receiver, number 9, those guys are all very good players. And, I got a chance to watch some of their game on TV when they played Notre Dame, and number 9 stood out, made a lot of plays in that game. They averaged 31 points last year at home. Their defense this year, 4-3, 4 down front. Wouldn't be surprised to see a 3 down front in there. But they got some very good players on the defensive side. Number 3, Quinn Blanding. He's also a Jim Thorpe Award and an all-conference player. Number 55, their D tackle, Dean. Explosive, physical, interior player. And then their nickel, number 26. Those guys seem to move around quite a bit and make plays. On special teams, they had a 75-yard punt return for a TD last week in the game. So they've done a nice job in that area as well. But, these guys I think are very physical. I think they're well coached in what they do. And, it's another game for us that we've got to go at their place and play. We've got to play more physical than we played. And we've got to be able to go there and handle the environment as well. So we'll prepare for all those things this week. And, I think our guys are excited, looking forward to it. It's a little bit different schedule. We leave early this week on Wednesday. So these guys are affected with school. And, that's something that they're also preparing for today and tomorrow and before we head out, to make sure that that's taken care of, because along with playing football, they also go to school, which is extremely important. They have tests coming up. So there's a lot of these guys' plates going into this week. And I think they're prepared for it. We've been talking about it for a couple weeks, knowing that this schedule was going to come up, so we'll see how we handle it going into this week. And with that, open up for questions. You want me just to ask it myself? So, right now with, and I'm going to talk about 3 players in particular. Ryan Finley, he's probably out 8 weeks. And, hopefully that's when we're able to get him back. Don't know about any surgeries at this point, but that's the time frame that we're looking at. Gabe Perez will redshirt this year. He's going to have surgery on Monday and repair part of his shoulder. just to heal up. But he's got a redshirt year, so that hurts us now with some of the depth. But you guys saw Durant Miles was playing. I think he's capable of playing and want to get him in there. He's done a great job since he's been here, and it gives us a chance to have Gabe back and get him healed up and ready to go for spring ball. Rondell McNair will probably be out for 4 weeks. Got tweaked in practice, so we're probably looking at 4 weeks without Rondell. So those are the guys that are out right now. The quarterback situation, we haven't made a complete determination on what we're doing as far as who's playing and how much. I did like the combination of Tommy and Rip, and, that just happened. It's one of those where Tommy goes in there and he plays well. We were prepared to play Brett and have been, and it was his opportunity to go in there and play, and those two combined and did a nice job, both of them. So, we'll see what type of packages we put together this week and how much each one is going to have the opportunity to go in there and run it. So that's still a work in progress, but both guys are prepared to play. And really, the one guy we haven't talked about, Alex Ogle, that's really got to ramp him up and put him in a position to be prepared as well. You'd like to have 3 guys ready to play, and with Ryan being out, we need to have that. But I feel good about the quarterback position. I think those guys have prepared not as the backups this whole time, especially being this early in the season. You never know what's going to happen. Unfortunately, it did. And, let me say this too, about these guys that are injured. Those things happen in football, and in the game you have to move on. You've got to go play the next play. But these guys have worked really hard to come out here and have a successful season. And unfortunately, they got injured. And that's very difficult on those guys. And that's, football is really important to them, and not being able to play, that hurts. And so we're going to love those guys up. We'll get them back. When we do get them back, we expect those guys to go out there and play for us. So, but quarterback, whatever we decide to do, I feel like we'll be in good shape, and I feel like we can go out there and operate our offense the way we need to. To answer your question? Some kind of, sort of? All right, fire away.
Do you guys know exactly what did happen to Ryan Finley?
Yeah, I don't know the exact, it was his ankle. He broke a bone in his ankle is what he did when he got rolled up there. And, for it to heal, there's a couple different options in there, but we won't know anything until Monday, when they actually go through it and scan it, and the doctors have a lot more information than I do. But probably looking at 8 weeks. That's usually with something like that. If everything goes well and he's able to get back. Everybody's a little bit different, when you have an injury, what type of healer. DJ Harper was an incredible healer. He was back very quickly, so we'll find out how long it takes.
What is the plan in terms of a starter for this week? Are you going to name somebody? Is this going to be someone trots out on Friday night? How are you going to kind of handle that?
Yeah, we're not going to name anybody right now. And I say right now at this point. We're just putting together the plan. We're obviously going through the different play selections and what we think we can hit them with and what we want to do. So we probably won't going into the game, but I anticipate both those guys playing.
When was the last time you were a part of using 2 guys? I mean, short of like throw Grant in for a play or something like that, but when was the last time you actually went in with a 2 quarterback plan, or have you ever?
We've done it, not 50-50. I mean, we've had quarterbacks that come in and run specific things or have a package of plays. We did it at Texas as well. So, that's a way of running a system. When you have the option of utilizing a couple guys, maybe in different ways. So it all to be determined with the game plan. But probably wouldn't have thought that until I saw both guys play. And each one, I thought Tommy, when he came in there, we come right out of the gate, we run this funky reverse that's, the ball handling on it is a little bit crazy, and it took us a lot of time to prep it. And Finley got most of the reps on it. And Tommy comes right in, runs it, flips it out there, and we're off and running literally. So I just thought he came in and really showed a lot. And I thought when Brett came in there, was it the first 3 plays were completions?
Yeah.
He came right in and we got him an easy completion, and then boom, 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 we were moving. And did a nice job. So both guys really played well in their debut. And, I think that's what's earned them both opportunities to play. How much, I don't know at this point, but I'd expect both guys to be out there.
How does it help you, I guess, that they're totally different quarterbacks in terms of what they do? And I guess maybe as far as the reps and game plan and what guys can run, how does that maybe hurt you, or how does it affect you going into Friday when each guys probably won't have the same set of plays?
They're not too far from each other. I think the one thing, when Tommy was in there, I think everybody thinks the plays were designed for him because he ran it more. That was actually the play selection. Those were designed for Finley. That was designed for our quarterbacks. 1 out of 3 of them worked well. We tried the other 2, and we decided not to go with that. When Rip got in there, we felt like we could throw it and run McNichols and have a couple fastball plays in there, which ended up being the right thing to do. So it's not that Rippon can't go out there and run those same plays, or Tommy can't run what Rippon was running. So we're really not like that. We're not going to go in with 2 different offenses. But we may have some packages in there that may complement one guy more now that we're preparing for that going into this week. We didn't really have that in the last game. We had the Finley package. Those guys need to operate that if they can win in the game. This week might be different.
How much better off are they having played 2/3 to 3/4 of the game versus if, let's say, the Finley injury came with 3 minutes to go in the football game where you had a chance to get them out?
Yeah, for them, a lot better, because they now have, significant game reps on film that they can go back and watch. And really, how did they handle it? Getting out there. And it's really not just the plays, but, operating the offense. I thought both guys on the sideline, that's what you never get to see. Tommy jumps right in there. He's like, we're scoring. All right. Just confident and excited, which you should be. If you've been sitting there waiting for your opportunity, you get to take the headsets off and put the helmet on and go play. You should feel that way. And both guys were like that. So I thought the energy, I thought their excitement to get out there and play, really showed up. And the guys rallied around him. The offense, defense, special teams, everybody did when you have a change like that. But it definitely helps us and them to be able to see them go out there and play in a game environment.
For both Tommy and Brett, it seems like, what you said last week, that you guys had a plan for depending on what would happen. How do you think that they really obviously took to that plan and believed in that plan? And, having maybe been in a situation before, how hard is it to come off the bench, obviously, and play most of a football game when you didn't get a ton of reps in practice?
Yeah. That's the most difficult thing. And you're really going back to the mental reps that you've got. You're going back to fall camp when you got a lot of reps, and you got to go out there and operate that way. So, Tommy had the one run, and he kind of stumbled on it, just kind of wobbly legs, getting out there and playing. We kind of laughed at it. But that's the reality. You come into a real game situation, you got to kind of go back and rely on what you did in fall camp as a backup quarterback, because you don't get many. What else you asked there?
You answered it for the most part, but
yeah.
How they took to their roles of
yeah.
There was kind of some vagueness, but there was very specific,
Well, I think we've been vague, with you, all right, on our plan, and we have a plan. We talked about it. It's, it's not something you sit there and talk about every day because you don't want that to happen. But when Ryan went out, at that time, it was to put Tommy in and see, where Ryan's at. And then at the same time, at halftime, regardless of Ryan's situation, we still need 2 guys that can play. We were still at a half of a game, and looking at it from that perspective, it was time. And Brett's been prepared to play the whole time. We've said if we get to a certain point and it's not smart to play you because we'd waste a year, we're not going to do that. We're not going to put our guys in a bad situation. But you need to be prepared to play because we're planning to win when we step out there and play whoever we're going to play. And those guys understand that. And so I think at halftime when we told him it's time, he's been ready. He's been thinking about it. He knows it was coming and went out there and operated. So I don't think you go out there and go 3 for 3 and just play with some of the poise that he did if it was a surprise.
I would assume a strong running game would help the quarterbacks. I think he had, 340 yards in the last game.
He did.
What changed there? I know the opponent probably had something to do with it, but how were you guys able to get that going and your confidence-wise and all those backs, going forward?
I think our guys did a good job just mixing it. We had some outside runs, inside runs. I really think, our inside zone, which is up the middle and has been the most effective play that we've run ever since we've been in this offense, actually hit. The line dented the defense. The backs hit the hole. And when you're getting that type of momentum and push, and then you've got Kelsey and McNichols and Devin, and those guys are just going in there and hitting it the way it needs to be hit, that's what you get. And now, there were also some broken tackles too. Jeremy, he got hit at the line, broke a couple tackles, but I just think that, game 3, you got into a little bit of a rhythm. You're able to kind of see it and feel it. That needs to carry over moving forward. We need to run the ball like that. And when we get on the perimeter, like Devin Demas, we get outside like that. We got to be able to turn the corner. The wide receivers did a great job blocking, and that really helps us. So that variety and then just the style in which we run it, that's been something that we talked about. We've done that before. It's just it took a little bit more time to see it happen, and it needs to show up again this next game.
You look around, I think it's the first time in 22 years or something that Boise State's played a true freshman quarterback. Look around the country the last few years, it's become extremely common. I don't know if you did ever at Texas, but what's kind of your philosophy on using one of those guys, and what have you seen around the country in terms of what that experience is like playing with a true freshman quarterback?
Yeah. I think everybody just goes back to, like in anything, when you're not experienced, it doesn't matter, football, jobs, whatever, you're kind of like, oh, it's the new guy. You hope that he can go out there and get it done. And we did play with a true freshman at Texas, David Ash. He had to go in there and play. But, these guys have played. They know how to play. They haven't experienced, which sometimes is not a bad thing. They haven't had all the negatives either. So they understand it, and I really think it comes down to their demeanor, how they prep, how you feel about it. If we didn't think Brett, could handle it, we wouldn't play him. That wouldn't even have been an option. But, he came here in the spring, he was here in the summer, he's here in fall camp. I think the early enrollment really helped him, where he's at right now. You probably see more of that now with quarterbacks too, for this reason, that if something happens, I want to get in there and play. And I also think these guys come out of high school and they're running similar offenses to what college offenses are running. He in particular threw a lot of footballs, and so he's seen a lot of different looks. And Kellen, I'm not comparing, but Kellen did that too. He threw a lot of footballs too, and so there's a lot of things with just actually doing that's hard to coach. And I think he's got a good feel out there as well, when it comes to seeing the defense.
Just kind of switching gears a little bit from the quarterbacks. You look at this Virginia team, and they lose big to UCLA, then they have this really close game against Notre Dame, and they have this close game against William & Mary yesterday. I mean, who is Virginia? I mean, what do you expect to see from them?
Yeah, good question. They played two really good teams, and William & Mary played them very well also. And for William & Mary, I mean, that's a bowl game. So you expect those guys to come in there and throw everything at them, which they did. And I think Virginia's a very good team. I think they've been in tight games, and they won a tight game. They've lost a couple in there. And, that's the part about it. They seem to me, they keep fighting. They keep playing. And they've got guys on their team that are potential NFL guys that you see their leadership out there when they do play. They play physical. They play hard. And so, we fully expect to go in there and play one of the best teams we played. As far as just their mentality, they played some really good teams. They've been hardened up, and we're playing at their place, and they're going to be excited to play us. So, we've got to be able to prepare for that going into this week. I don't think that's a surprise. I mean, our guys, regardless of who we're playing, I think we prepare like that week to week, and it should be no different going into this game. And this is an opportunity for us too. This ends our non-conference schedule, so our guys are looking forward to getting out there and playing well, and hopefully carrying over the stuff that we learned in this last game.
How much of a tax is put on the defense when they have a running back who can catch the ball in the backfield and does it a lot? How much does that challenge you guys when it's one thing to say they can throw it to multiple wide receivers, but also kind of adding in that element?
Yeah, and the variety with how they use them too. It just puts you having to communicate and being on your game. You can't fall asleep. I think we learned that. That's something where every single play, what are they trying to set up? Who are they trying to get the ball to? And if you have miscommunication and you leave that back on a swing route or a wheel route up the sideline, he catches it, probably not good for us. So having to cover all five, and understanding where they're at, where they might end up with the shifts and motions and different things, we got to be aware of all of them. So, and the quarterback's done a good job too. He's been stingy with the football. He's thrown the ball well. He gets it out. The TV copy, I saw him when Notre Dame kind of attacked him. He's on his back foot, still completed the passes, so he's able to stand in there and be tough. That makes it difficult.
I think you're probably going to land like 48 hours before the game. How do you handle the extra time? I don't know if there's any Hall of Fames you can find to go or
Yeah.
on it, but what do you do to handle the time before Friday at 6?
Yeah, no, we'll be there early. We're going to use it, just to get acclimated a little bit. We'll have a practice down there as well, and we've got plenty of meetings that we have to get to. So we probably lose a little bit on the front end because of school, the short week, and we got to make that time up on the back end. And so really it gives us a chance to get there and, focus on the game, focus on being together, make sure that we're hitting all the little fine details of what's going to happen in the game plan. So really we don't have a whole lot of time, just to lay around and not do much. We're going to be using it.
Turnovers. You had 3 different quarterbacks, didn't turn the ball over. How unusual is that? That's got to be a hard thing.
Yeah, well, I think the message, and not just, to those guys in particular, all week long was being really stingy with the football on offense. We hadn't won the turnover battle until this last game, and we won it by 1. We didn't have any. But, that's the key ingredient, and I think everybody understood that, running backs, tight ends, wide receivers, quarterbacks, no matter who it was. We're not going to throw it to the defense. We're not going to put it on the ground. We did. We put one on the ground, and it was down by contact. But we've got to find ways to win the turnover battle. If we do that, we're not putting our defense in bad situations. And on the flip side, the 2 that we got, the somewhat blocked punt, that Tanner had in there, we turned those 2 drives into points. That was something that we really talked about with the offense because we didn't do it the week before. We had 2 turnovers and we got no points out of it. So we had 2 turnovers and we got points each time. That needs to happen.
Whoever is in a quarterback Friday night needs to be protected. How do you assess the performance of the O-line so far? And the sacks are above average, I say.
Yeah, I think we had 3. And it's not always the O-line. The quarterbacks understanding protection, you kind of know where the weaknesses are. And if they attack it just right, there's opportunities to run or throw it away. We probably had 2 sack situations where we got beat in the last game. We probably had 1 we could throw away. But, we're trying to get no sacks. And that's a combination of the O-line and the quarterbacks working together. Now, I thought in the second half, I don't think we had any in the second half. So we were getting the ball out on time. We were protecting better. That includes the running backs as well. So, that's a combination of all those guys doing their jobs. And we don't want to take sacks because that puts us in bad field position. when we do it. And so that's another one of the part of the game that we've continued to talk about, and the quarterbacks have to be aware of it. If it's a throwaway, at least it saves us yards in that situation.
The benefits of obviously getting into a game like that, and I think with about 5 minutes to go in the third quarter, you guys were able to basically sub out almost all your starters. Just the benefits of that, and you know, a kid like Tyler Horton getting played 25 snaps or whatever it was.
Yep. Same as the quarterback. Those guys have real game film that they can go back and watch, that we can watch as well. And I think just kind of knocking, you know, some of the nerves out a little bit, you know, that you've played, that you've made plays, you've done something, you've contributed. Those are all important factors, I think, psychologically. So we go play Virginia and those guys play, hey, I've been here. Now, maybe a different opponent, different player and all that, but you at least have confidence that you've played, you've done it. You know what it looks like, you know what it feels like, you know the energy out there, and all you got to do is go operate, trust your training.
You guys turned Mario Yakuu into a tackle. What was the thinking behind moving him out there? And I think he'd been practicing it a little bit, but what was kind of what went into that decision?
Yeah, we actually did that in spring. And, you know, one, it had to do with getting Travis back in the game. You know, Travis was a guy that we felt like we needed to have back in there. He's played well. He probably had the best summer, one of the best summers of the O-line, of getting himself ready to play. And, you know, putting Mario out there, we feel like Mario's got great feet. You know, and really at tackle, that's what you need to do. You need to have great feet. So putting him on the edge there, put our 5 best guys out there, and having Travis inside is where he needs to be. And Mario's the most athletic, very smart, and so it's really for him making the move, and we did it in spring. It wasn't that difficult for him.
I think what Travis and Baggett have both played tackle before.
Yep.
So what is it about Mario that makes you think he's the best fit there?
Well, his feet, you know, and that's, you know, and those guys could all play tackle as well. We just felt like with our interior guys, what we needed to do in our inside run game, how we wanted to protect the edges, that was the best combination. And, you know, Mario being a big guy, you know, he is really quick on his feet. And for the edge rushers and the linebackers and corners and all that, you need to be able to see it, and you got to be able to get there, and he's the one that can do it the best.
So was April's suspension 2 games then, or was it the second game you just wanted to
No.
keep rolling loose?
Yep. Yeah, it was just one.
Kind of getting back. Well, first off, how's Finley doing right now? Since obviously game night, and just kind of getting back to Brett as well. What did you kind of start to realize that he might be ready to help contribute this season? How long did it take? And, I mean, I know a few players are, but was he ready to play right when he got on campus? Or?
Yeah. You know, Finley's doing fine. You know, he's obviously like anybody who gets injured, you know, disappointed. But really it's now, you know, what do we do now? You know, what's the next thing to get back and help? And, you know, he's going to help this football team. You know, one thing about Finley, he's very bright. He understands the game. He's a very good leader. And so he's going to help those quarterbacks. He's going to help the wide receiver. He's going to help our football team. You know, that's part of his job. And regardless whether he's playing or not, he's going to continue to be our quarterback and help us out in those situations. As far as Brett, you know, probably in fall camp, you know, spring was good. He had some good things happen for him in spring. Summer, we're not out there with him, but, you know, you talk to him, and he'll tell you, you know, things are going well, or guys will tell you things are going well. And then you see him in fall camp. Accuracy improved, arm strength improved, timing on throws improved. So you just saw, you know, the growth of a player, a young guy that's just getting better. And we felt like that he's put himself in a position that he could go in there and play. And not just play, but go in there and help us really win. All right? So if we didn't feel that way, we wouldn't have played him. But he's still, you know, not a finished product by any means. He's got a long ways to go. And all those things I talked about continue to be emphasized. And now he's going to have to do it when he's actually playing. You know, so now his preparation, which he's always been good at since he's been here, that will ramp up along with the physical traits that we're talking about he needs to keep working on.
Thanks, Arthur.
Okay.